I think you bring every moment that has built you and made you who you are right now, you kind of bring it together, and that's how you're able to discover things. And I think acting and theatre is such a subjective thing. The things that might make me cry might make you laugh.
Hello, my name is Eline Perez and you're listening to Are You an Artist? Today's episode is with Jessica, Cole and Simina Ellis, and it's about creating the Libra Theatre Cafe. It's in Camden, you need to visit, but also acting and friendship. I love this recording. Jessica and Simina are both brilliant and their story is super inspiring. Dear Jessica and Simina, I first came across you through the Libra Theatre Cafe, a space you've created together as best friends and actresses. I've seen you both perform there, make some amazing cocktails, and bring a real sense of magic to the place. I'm so curious to hear more about your story, the journey of Libra, and the dreams behind it all. Thank you for building such a beautiful space and for your time. Simina and Jessica, are you artists?
Oh, yes, I would say we are artists. I feel like we both had this idea because we wanted to create a safe space for artists where they could be vulnerable and try out new things. And I think it was the place that we really wanted to have that we didn't quite find, where you could be experimental and supportive. So we wanted to create it for other people because I think the industry can be quite brutal and cutthroat and there's a lot of rejection. So it's nice to have a space that counters that element. Yes, I think there's also a lot of waiting around in this industry, especially for actors, where you have to go to audition, you have to wait to hear if you got the audition. And then if you do, that's great. And you do a project and then you go back to the waiting stage again. And you hope, I'll book the next job. And so you see a lot of actors being very versatile and having all these jobs, from hospitality to teaching to like loads of jobs. And we thought, what's the job that we want to do in the waiting period, in the in-between when the next project happens? And then we thought it would be great if we can just carry on practicing what we're doing and also opening a space for everyone else that needs it, because there's a lot of us out there waiting for the next job. So that's kind of how the idea came about. Also, we actually met working in the West End, front of house. And so we thought, we have the experience of that. We have the experience of working in the theatre. We started as front of house, then we kind of became duty managers, and I did some finance stuff as well. So there was a lot of skills there that we thought, why don't we try and put to good use and open our own space? Because we know how to do that part of the business. And we can also act. So we thought, why don't we put it together and see what happens?
That's so cool.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
when did you start acting?
So for me, I've acted all my life. So when I was much younger, I was very shy and I didn't really talk to anybody, and I was extremely in my shell. So that's why my parents introduced me to acting from quite a young age. And I think I connected to it at first through the escapism of being somebody else. And that's what drew me to it and gave me confidence.
Do you feel like you could be less shy when you were someone else?
Yeah, exactly. Much less shy. And yeah, I found a huge sense of freedom in it. So I think that's what really connected me to it. And then for me, I grew up in Romania, and theatre is big in Romania. Films are big in Romania, but we don't really have, drama classes or that kind of thing in school. It's not part of the curriculum at all. So I was kind of doing like school plays kind of thing. But again, you didn't have a drama department. It was your English
maybe.
teacher. Yeah. It was like your English teacher being like, we're doing a show, everybody get up and like learn these lines kind of thing. So I started doing that and I really enjoyed it, but I didn't think I was going to do that as a career. It's not really the kind of thing, especially where I grew up, where people encourage you to go towards arts, unfortunately. It's opening up a bit more now, but my experience wasn't like that. So I thought it's a nice hobby thing to do. And then when I went to high school, we did have a drama group, and I joined the drama group, and I realized this is a bit more than just a hobby. I love doing this. So literally last minute, I say last minute as in when you're 18, you need to kind of apply for universities in Romania. And I thought I might apply for acting. So I had to go to my parents and be like, hi, I think I'm going to be an actress. And they were a bit, oh, okay. Because everyone in my family is a doctor, or like my dad works in IT. My mum's a doctor. My sister's a doctor. So everybody was a bit, okay. But then I thought, I'm going to do it in London. I thought, rather than studying back home. And so, I graduated high school. I was 18 and I came here to audition, and I stayed here since. And so that's kind of like how my love for acting developed. Yeah.
And between you meeting and the idea of Libra and it really happening?
It was a long time. We met, what was it, 8 years ago, 9 years ago?
Oh, wow.
8 or 9 years, yeah. And is that kind of, I always say she's like my soulmate, and my partner is my love life, but she's like my soulmate. Yeah, we met about 8 years ago, and in the beginning, I didn't really like her.
Oh, why?
I don't know. I was just like, yeah, okay, hi. There wasn't that instant,
Sparkle.
Yeah, for the friendship.
You didn't fall in love.
No, I didn't fall in love with her straight. No. And then we were saying this the other day, like we don't actually remember the moment we were like, it just feels like 1 second I didn't like her, and then the next second I'm like, we're just always like next to each other, like
crazy.
chatting. Yeah. But then the idea of Libra came about.
I'd say we've been trying to do it for 4 years, including this year of having just done it.
Yeah.
So I would say actually 5 years ago is when we probably first had the idea, because it was the pandemic 5 years ago, right? Because it was at the start of the pandemic.
Yeah, 2020, yeah.
2020, and now we're in 2025. So yeah, 5 years ago, because it was during the pandemic, I think, where life slowed down.
Everything closed, you were like, we're going to open a cafe.
We're like, let's do the opposite of what we're meant to do right now. Yeah, it was during the pandemic, I think, where you can kind of have some time to slow down and reflect and think. And that's where we first came up with the idea, actually, during the pandemic of the Libra. Yeah.
And then
so
5 years, boom.
Literally. So we were thinking, because you talk about things in passing, natural things like, it'd be great to have a space where you're a bit more in control of your creative life from a creative side. And then from a more business side, it would be great to be able to implement your own ideas and use the experience you have to your own advantage and other people's advantage. So a bit of both, throwaway comments, and you think, well, why not? Why don't we do it? There's a lot of reasons why not, but but you just think, okay, so do the reasons to do it outweigh the reasons to not do it? And you just have to make a decision on that, because obviously it's a huge risk doing this kind of thing. So then we were trying to find a property for 3 years. Yeah. And that was probably the hardest part, I would say. That process was quite difficult. It's very challenging, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But here we are. Yay, we found somewhere.
In Camden.
Yeah, it was actually the first place you looked at.
Yeah, it's a funny story, because we were actually at the pub talking about things, and we were thinking, do we want to go back when we can go back to normality? Do we want to go back to the same lifestyle, or has something changed in us? Or we realized we really craved the creativity that wasn't there as much as we wanted to. And so we started looking at places just like, maybe we should do it. And this venue is the first thing that came up. And I turned to Jess and I said, this would be the dream,
So what was it before?
At that point, this was a cafe.
Okay.
Yeah. And I said it would be great because, you can have the upstairs bar and then downstairs would be the performing space. But the financials at that point were not there. We couldn't afford this place because we are an independent venue. We've put our entire life savings in opening this. We don't have any financial support coming from anywhere else.
Wow.
So that was really interesting. So we looked at it and we were like, oh, this is amazing, but okay, let's move on. We're never going to afford this.
Yeah.
So then, it was 3 years of trying to find the space. And I think
looking back on it, it was difficult because, you know, sexism is everywhere. But I can honestly say that this was the first time in my life when I felt it so in my face.
Oh, wow.
Because I think every agent that we had to deal with was a man. Everyone always involved in all of the paperwork and that side was always a man. And so they would be very respectful and kind to each other. And then they would send us like WhatsApps at midnight being like, girls, can you do this? Girls, can you do that? Yeah, which was really, and then you kind of saw it throughout. Even when we managed to get this space, my partner helped us a lot with building the space. He's a carpenter, so he built a lot of people, everything we see here, he built. And even then, when you had deliveries or we had someone coming to look at a pipe or something, they would speak to him, not to us.
Of course.
I couldn't help myself. And I'd be like, sorry, it's me. I'm the one that's hired you to come and do this job today. It's not him. Like, I'm the one that's going to make the decision. So I think, yeah, that was a tricky period. But then we did it. Yeah, the three of us, a lot of, yeah.
Was it easy to choose how to decorate the space and everything between the both of you?
It was not.
Yes, it was definitely a one-man job from Simi. That is not my forte. I do not see what goes together or not. So I'd be like, let's do these colors. And everyone's like, no. So I think it's good to know your own strengths and know when to step back, because she naturally sees exactly what goes and where. Like all of this was her idea, like tiling the tables and the colors and everything, like these original creative ideas. Yeah, I feel like you kind of have the eye for it or you don't.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really beautiful. We noticed it like every time we would come with friends, and
Oh, thank you.
it's so unique as well. It's kind of really
Yeah, we
like,
kind of.
place.
So on the back here, the painting, can I call it? It's not quite a painting. The mural, yeah, was already here, and we loved it. Our colors are orange and green. Our logo has those colors, and then you can kind of see a bit of orange and green. So then we thought we need to use the colors from here with our logo and try and like make it come together. But we're really lucky because we have a lot of the exposed walls. So it kind of came together naturally. I think it was hard in the sense of we actually did all of the physical work as well. So we built the chairs, I say we, it was mainly my partner. Yeah, mainly him. We painted the walls. We did everything, like all of the manual work as well. And we also decided to do it really fast, to like have 3 weeks. We need to get everything done in 3 weeks and try and open, because the Camden Fringe Festival was approaching and we wanted to be part of it. So we were like, go. We need to open the space as soon as possible. So we're constantly changing things. We're constantly adding new things. We're constantly like, especially downstairs, the performance space changes a lot, but we wanted a really flexible space. That was very important for us. So it's not your typical raised stage and chairs. We want to move the room around. That's what we do with a lot of in-house productions. And we kind of want to offer that to other creatives as well, rather than the rigid, this is your little square where you can perform. And
Yeah, I guess so they can really experiment as well and feel free in that.
exactly. Yeah.
And how did you meet Glenn, who you work with?
Shall I do that? Well, actually, I first met Glenn. We were working in the West End, front of house, and we were doing interviews. I interviewed Glenn. I gave him the front of house job. I still remember to this day his interview story. One of the questions was, when have you ever gone beyond with a customer, given amazing customer service? And he told the story of when he used to work in the vet practice, and he had to drive a puppy back and forth because the owner was too old. And, he has an American accent, and he was like, I took Fluffy to work and then I took Fluffy back. And I was like, that's you're hired. I was like, this is amazing. Yes.
So the way you say fluffy.
Yeah. The way he said Fluffy, and I was like, I literally wrote hired on my thing. No, he was amazing. Of course, he did well in the interview, but yeah, that for me, that was the moment. And ever since, every time I hear the word Fluffy, I'm like, Glenn. Yeah, and then we worked in the West End. How many years? Why am I so bad? I'll leave that to you now.
We worked with Glenn for maybe 3-4 years. And then, when everything shut down with COVID,
Glenn and I, we were one of the first ones back at work. So that was pretty crazy. But we knew that Glenn was an amazing director, and we knew.
How did you know? Did you witness that through?
Well, he's shown us clips of things he's done before, and just talking about ideas, you can kind of see.
Yeah.
He really gets it. I feel like Glenn's one of those people where he does really well, and he's really great because he knows everything. Like he doesn't just try and get by and like do bits and bobs. He is constantly reading, constantly watching. So he's got such a great analytical mind because he's got so much information that he processes, and he knows what to do.
He was telling me what he just got paid, and he was like, so I bought 15 books.
Yeah, exactly. He lives and breathes it, and that's so refreshing when you talk to somebody that does really well because they've earned it. And he is one of those people where he is constantly learning. He's constantly watching and reading. And I think, it really serves him well. And I think you can see that about him straight away.
Yeah.
And I really respect that in a person. So just talking to him about his ideas and everything, we knew he'd be great in charge here. And even better than we thought. He's an amazing writer as well. So clever and so quick at turning things around. And Simi and Glenn have worked together on a couple of projects writing, and then some of them, the one that's coming up next, Glenn's done it by himself, hasn't he? The adaptation,
He was telling me, he was like, I'm writing this, and he was writing so fast, and I was like, what?
I tend to do a lot of like, Glenn, let's do a show. And he's like, oh, okay. And I'm thinking this and I'm thinking that. And we have 2 weeks, go. Like I'm always like, it needs to be fast. It needs to move really fast. And he's very receptive, and he's very, okay, let's do it. And he has amazing flexibility as a director. You know, speaking as an actress, there's nothing for me worse than going into a rehearsal room and everything is rigid. You know, you have to sit here, you have to move on this key, you have to do that. He's not like that. He's very flexible. He listens. He lets you discover things. He watches what you've discovered and points out, I don't know if you noticed this, but this has happened. And it's lovely to work with him. And I think, you know, also being from Romania, we have such like huge influence from America. I think I find myself talking to him about films that nobody else is seen here in the UK. And he's like, oh my God, that was, and I used to grow up watching that. And I'm like, me too. And then, you know, you kind of discover the creativity common ground there as well, that we watch the same thing, we like the same style, we read the same plays. So it's working really well. And this project we just finished rehearsals today for it. So
So people who are listening to that need to come and see it. When will it be on?
It's on from the 19th of June. So I think that's a Thursday.
It's just after my birthday.
Oh, happy birthday. So it's on for 2 weekends. So it's it's that weekend of 19th of June and then the following weekend. So it's an adaptation of The Dance of Death. Yeah. It's intense. It's an intense two-hander.
Because you know each other so well and you're so close, do you feel more comfortable in rehearsals and in working together? Or do you find it sometimes a bit tricky because you don't dare saying some things because you don't want to hurt? Or
do you mean with each other or
with Glenn, both of you? So it can be like acting, but also here working at Libra.
I don't think so. I think the reason why this works really well is because we have a very healthy communication style. I think that's really important. And I think, we're always honest with each other. If something doesn't work, you know, you need to find the right, nice, kind way to tell someone, okay, like this bit doesn't quite work. Let's try and work on this. Let's try and work on that. So I don't think we have that. We haven't actually worked with each other that much, Jess and I, because we've done either separate shows or, you know, Glenn and I wrote the Christmas show and Jess was the main part in the Christmas show and I was just a little bit at the end. Or it's also because it's just the two of us up here on the bar still.
Okay, yeah.
So we kind of have to take turns in who does the show. But like I say, I think our communication style is so healthy and honest. And you kind of need that, especially in a creative space, because sometimes you can be a bit too much in your head and think, oh, I have this brilliant idea. But when you actually put it in practice, it doesn't quite work. So you need to trust that the people next to you will be able to give you criticism, but like fair criticism.
And do you find the time to apply for other jobs?
Time. Yeah, we tend to. So we have Mondays off. So that's kind of the main day where we look for like different auditions and we look at different castings and things like that. But no, personally, being honest, I've been very much here all the time. And luckily we get to do the shows as well. So it balances the creativity with having to work up here and just do all of the business. How do you feel?
Yeah, I would say the same. I would say we still, apply and kind of active with things, but usually shorter jobs like voiceover, little things or little filmings and that kind of thing. Because right now I agree with Simi that we're putting all of our energy here. Like we've just finished the first year.
Yeah.
So in time, we'll let go more and more of the business side and put more energy into the creative side. But right now, there's only so much I feel
it's kind of your baby. You need to
exactly
nurture it quite a lot.
Exactly, yeah. And it's exciting to kind of see the concept that it gets bigger than you. Because at the beginning, it's people come in and just know us, Sim and Jess, they're doing the Libra. But then the more time goes on, you kind of have a natural network of people. Oh, I've told my friend. Then all of a sudden it's people don't know Simi and I. It's more like the name of the Libra and like the business. And that's exciting that it's bigger than like your own personal connections in a smaller circle. So I feel like that is quite cool for us to see. Yeah.
And what's your dream with Libra for the future? In a perfect word.
That's an exciting question. I feel like I can see a lot of thoughts going through your head. So you start.
I mean, first of all, we're a fringe venue. So because it's quite an intimate space downstairs, we do a lot of two-handers or one-person show, maybe like 3-4 people. The dream would be, to have maybe 2 shows a day, every single day, to be that point where it starts at the Libra and then it got moved to a bigger venue and then it went to the West End and it's that little spot in Camden that we need to bring the show there. The show can grow there. We can build something there to then take to the next level. For me, that was the dream, to give a place to start the idea, because I think I personally didn't have that. Coming out of drama school, you have all of these creative ideas that you want to put in practice, but you either can't do it financially or, you have to have a job that you have to go to and then that it's time restrictive and so on. And so building that for people that are starting up and have the projects and being able to use it and feel like a safe space, that is the dream for the Libra. And on a personal note, to have a team so I can just, focus on, because I do the website, I do the social media, like there's so many things that we do. I do the baking. So we're literally doing 1 million people's jobs. So
that's exactly one of the questions I was thinking about. I was like, do you make the cakes?
Yeah. So I bake everything, all the sandwiches, all the cakes, everything. It's homemade, like little treats for people to enjoy when they're watching the show. So the idea would be, to have a bar team, to have a kitchen team, and then we can then just focus on the creatives and help the space grow on that creative side. That would be my selfish dream. Because it is getting tiring for both of us. We love it, but it is getting tiring for both of us. That is the dream overall, to be that little space where great ideas are born and they start finding their feet and then they move on to the next thing. It'd be great, to have a play on the West End and be like, it started at the Libra Theatre Cafe. I'm like, yay!
Yeah, I'm thinking about all these philosophers who were meeting up in Paris in a cafe, or these painters who were working together but in a very niche space before growing. It's kind of a place like this. I feel like you can come with your unique idea because it's safe, and then it can kind of grow.
Yeah, trialing things. Yeah,
I was gonna say as well, I feel like I agree with what you said. That's kind of the natural next step. I feel like as well, the dream would be to get funding from the Arts Council as well and to develop, the space even further. And I'm quite interested in outreach and development projects as well, doing that kind of thing. But also, you know, we always try and, you know, make changes to the space, like upgrading it and, you know, getting better equipment and that kind of thing for people to enjoy. So I feel like just more and more of that would be such a dream. And I think as well, one thing that's exciting is how many people are creating their own work. I just have so much respect for it. I feel like people know the industry is oversaturated, but it's not scaring people. They're not saying, oh, I'm not going to do it. You know, people are like, great, well, I'm going to create my own opportunities. And that's so inspiring that people manage to do that in their lives. Like people, you know, often have to work, you know, 9 to 5, then they come here and they're rehearsing and then they're going and then they're doing their show. And then they kind of build it and build it and build it. And then slowly just, because I feel like some people overwhelm themselves, they get in their head, they think, okay, but what am I going to do with that? But you just, once you take the first step, sometimes the natural things fall into place. Like we've seen comedy groups that have just randomly popped up. And then all of a sudden they've kind of attracted some people in the same circle and they've got bigger and way bigger than they expected.
Oh, wow.
And picking up way more kind of motion. It's just given them so much confidence. So I feel like that's what it's all about and building up that community. And I don't know about you, but I feel like it would be exciting to kind of keep this because obviously we love this, but it would be really exciting to in time maybe have like a different venue as well. Like I love this for a fringe venue. I think it's amazing. And I love how you can move around the seats. Like one show that comes to mind for the fringe, it's really exciting. It's quite like gritty subjects, but they're doing it through tango as well with storytelling. And they're going right up to the audience where you can feel them. Like you can see how like sweat, like there's something so exciting about that. And you really get their emotion.
Yeah.
So I feel like I would never want to get rid of that at all because I love that. But I feel like Simi said about transferring to bigger venues, it would be exciting if in time we were that bigger venue as well, that you'd have like a fringe space for development.
You have your baby.
Exactly. Our baby, we'll never let it go.
Teenager.
And then we have, one that's a bit more, you know, maybe traditional theatre or I don't know, like a different styled venue for things that are already developed. They've already gone through that whole process and they're ready for bigger audiences, you know, that would be exciting. I think, yeah, it's just about that, the idea becoming bigger than us and like us kind of just letting it be is such an exciting thought. So that's quite a dream. Yeah.
And the cocktails.
The cocktails, yes, I do the cocktails. That's one thing I do. I don't just do nothing, guys. Yeah, so I do the cocktails. I like quite quirky, adventurous cocktails.
Yeah, quite unique. Eh?
Yeah. And I feel like we had like the drama cocktails and even with Simi, I said, oh, let's do these cocktails. Like, I know it'll be really good. I know it. And she's like, no, that's horrible and crazy and nobody will go for it. And I was like, well, just try it. And she loved it. Some. So some made it through. Yeah. So it's really fun, like trying different tastes where people are like, oh, I haven't seen that. And then they try it and they're like, oh my gosh, I love it.
So you just, I don't know, you're walking and suddenly you have an idea of a cocktail and then you come here, you try it.
I read a lot of recipes and I try a lot of things. And then I feel like it's similar to Glenn with like the plays. Like once you have like a whole bank of knowledge, you can kind of slip things together yourself. So I feel like, because I'm interested in that, I can see what goes. And yeah, it's really fun to try things out. We do the classic as well. Don't be scared, everyone. But we do fun ones too. Yeah.
What's your best memory at Libra?
Oh, that's a great question. Oh, do you have one ready to go? Because I feel like I might have to have a little think.
I do actually.
Go on.
I'm not sure everybody's going to be happy for me to share this memory. Yeah. We had one of the shows and it was our Halloween show and we worked really hard for it. And it was, we wrote the Halloween show. And again, we used the space to full capacity. So it was called Witches and it followed the stories of 2 young ladies that own a pub, and we kind of made it an 1800s pub downstairs. We actually built a little like bar in the middle of the room and we made it look like a traditional like pub tavern-y kind of vibe. And so people would come up here and they could purchase a drink with me, but I would actually just give them a little coin and then they would have the coin downstairs for their drink. We didn't give any drinks at the bar. It was quite immersive in that sense. And then it followed the story of these 2 girls that had the pub, and random things would happen in the village because of their presence in the village. So the villagers decided, oh, surely they must be witches. And so the story kind of unfolds from there. But one evening, one of the cast wasn't feeling very well. It was, I know, it was the energy that brought, because everybody was on edge, you know, like what if this person starts like fainting or like not feeling well during the show? So like I was doing the lights, I was doing the tech board that night for them. And I remember just like, as I walked downstairs, like the intensity of the room and everybody just like looking at each other. And obviously that evening, the show went pretty fast because everybody was like, let's just like get it done. And then there were moments where like people forgot lines and they were like, so that for me is like I was sitting at the back and I was thinking, this is beautiful to like watch and also to be a part of and to kind of like know a bit of a background of what's happening. Because you see the audience there like enjoying it.
Yeah.
But I could see them looking at each other and like giving each other form of signals, and like everybody was kind of like focusing all of their energy on the cast member that wasn't feeling well. So you could kind of like see them doing lines, but then kind of like staring towards that direction to be like, is this, are we getting any signals? Is everybody all right? Kind of thing. So for me, that energy is really one of my favorite memories. Yeah.
Wow.
I loved it.
I would say that's funny actually, because the memories that are springing to mind for me as well, funnily enough, aren't in shows that I was in. It's like watching other people. So that is funny that was the same for you as well. And I think like a couple that come to mind is our first show that we did. It was an immersive one, The Bear Proposal, where downstairs was converted into a Russian living room, and it was a 3-hander with Simi and then 2 other actors, Sunny and Curtis, and Glenn directed it. And Simi and Glenn, they adapted it together to merge them together and to make it a little bit different. And I really loved that because I feel like I was really proud of it when I watched it, because I was thinking, oh my gosh, like we've done this quite quickly. Like it's so much pressure because this is our first in-house production and there's so much stakes because you're kind of introducing, you know, this is who we are and like this is what we're trying to say. So I feel like it's such an important one, the first one. And I was so nervous and everyone was so nervous, and I saw it and I was like, okay, this is brilliant. I'm so proud of them. And I feel like that was a really exciting one for me, the first one. Yeah, I just was really proud. And then also I think in the Camden Fringe, some of the shows, it's just amazing to see people that come in and they're like, oh, I'll be happy if I sell like a few, you know, this is, you know, something that's really precious for us, but we don't know how it's going to connect. And then they completely sell out and like their energy is amazing. And just seeing it, like one that comes to mind, it was a musical that they did in the round and it was original music and it was so good and everyone really loved it. And we ended up having to like run down chairs because they sold way more than they thought. And it was so good just kind of seeing people like completely surprise themselves. It's just so positive. And I think it's like the quick change, like the beginning month, 2 months was so difficult getting people in. And like I was out flying in the market trying to get people in, like, hi everyone, please come.
I hate doing this.
Yes, it's not fun for anyone, but it has to be done. So kind of going from, and you think, oh my gosh, is it ever going to get past that? Because that's out of your control. You know, you can do everything in your control, but whether it works or not is not in your control. Yeah. So kind of going from that being so close together, from being out there in the market for hours, like trying to get people in, to like seeing a show sold out and people's ideas, you know, come to life. It was really exciting. Yeah.
Yes, I agree.
And about performing, how do you find performing in such a small space that is also the place you've built in a way?
I love it. No, I do. I think there's such a beautiful feeling. And I think this is the most like intimate way of connecting with the audience because they're literally there, they're next to you. And I remember when I did the Bear Proposal, when we had the Russian living room, we had little snacks on the table and we had pickles for people to eat. And I remember the first night people were a bit, you know, shy. They didn't know. So then Jess started making an announcement saying, you know, the family has left some snacks for you to enjoy. So on the next night, we were doing lines and all I could hear was everybody with the pickles. And you have these moments of like pause or like, and it was so, you know, because you kind of lose yourself in the character a little bit. And then something like will bring it back and you're like, yeah, this is... But no, I love feeling the audience so close to us. And I'm always, when we discuss like plays and things like that with Glenn, I'm always like, how can we go and sit with the audience or like have the audience come? I love this audience interaction. It's not for everybody. Not everybody likes that. A lot of people prefer,
Distance.
Yeah, let's let it be very clear that this is my space and that's yours. And the same goes for the audience. There's a lot of times where they don't want to be involved. There's a lot of fear. We have a lot of improv shows downstairs, and that's the first question when people come through a door. Am I going to be involved? Are they going to interact?
Am I going to be used?
And you're like,
I'm not a performer.
It's fine if you don't want to. So we tend to do that with the shows. With the Halloween one was a bit more interactive, but with the first one was you're in the space with us, but don't worry, we're not approaching you. It's you're just there. But I feel like it can't get any more intimate. It can't get any more from an actor's point of view. And there's no hiding, like if it goes wrong, you just need to like be on your feet to like try and change the narrative a little bit, because they're there. They're literally breathing next to you, And I love that. I think that's really challenging. And I think it kind of forces you to just be one with the character, because like I said, you don't have an escape if it goes wrong. You just have to deal with them.
Yeah. I feel like more intimate venues are a bit more of a challenge, because if you're in a huge theater where you can't see the audience's faces, it's like anonymous, and that's kind of peaceful in a way, because you just are disconnected from it, which obviously the downside is that. But then the plus side is you have no challenge of getting into your head.
Yeah.
Whereas in intimate venues, you can see and feel everybody's energy. So to kind of stay so focused on what you're doing, I feel like it's harder, but it's also really amazing, especially when you feel so connected to the audience and the story, and you can see that there's a part that they really relate to. Yeah, that is the amazing side of it. So that is amazing. I love that.
Sometimes there's this weird, I was just thinking of one of the shows that we did where you kind of have it mapped in your head, okay, this is what the character feels right now and this is where we're going. But then the audience felt something different, and that energy kind of creeped up on me, and then all of a sudden I was crying, and I was like, that wasn't what the character was kind of supposed, but that's what I'm feeling right now. Like, because you're so close, you're feeding off of each other, and sometimes you kind of go, actually, yes, I'm discovering something different this evening just because you're all discovering something different this evening. And again, I love that.
That's so beautiful.
Yeah, I keep saying that, but I think it's like the most raw way of connecting with the audience when they're right there next to you. And I didn't think I would enjoy it that much. I did think I was one of those actresses that prefer, like you say, like, this is my space and that's your space. So when we opened the first show, I was so nervous because I was like, oh God, they're literally right here. Plus, and not to mention the evenings when you have your mum and dad and like, your partner is right there looking at you and you're like, you're supposed to laugh at this. This was supposed to be a funny thing. And they're just there like, yeah. And you're like, oh, great, But yeah, I do love it.
Random questions of the end. What makes you laugh?
Oh, a lot. We do laugh a lot.
We do laugh a lot.
I feel like if I was to put it in one word, I feel like it's conviction that makes me laugh. Just that is what is so funny, is just even like when people are doing comedy shows, like, and you see that character where it's so true to what it is. Like for us, like most of us went to drama school or did some kind of drama training, and in a comedy show the other day, somebody went as like a voice actor, and they did like the stereotype to a T, where if you walked into a drama class, it's exactly how it would be. And just the conviction about it and like the truth about it, I think that's what really makes me laugh.
I think, onto that, I think is that, and also being in a safe space. I think when you're in a safe space, you can laugh, you can, feel things how you actually process them yourself. Yeah, exactly. So I would say conviction as well, and like the safety of the comfort of the space that you're in. That's a very tricky question. What makes you laugh? I was thinking like, what makes me laugh on a day-to-day? What makes me laugh on a night? What is this question? I was like, happiness makes me laugh. What? Just being happy makes me laugh.
Do you believe in talent?
Oh. I think talent is a bit of a combination of nature and nurture. I do think there's a bit of something that's in you that you're born with, but I think if it grows into what we like to call talent, I think it depends on nurture, it depends on the environment that you're in, it depends on your life experiences. I don't think it's necessarily, oh yeah, they were born like this, they know exactly how to act. I think you bring every moment that has built you and made you who you are right now, you kind of bring it together, and that's how you're able to discover things. And I think acting and theater is such a subjective thing. I really kind of dislike it when if someone says I hated this show, I'm like, don't really have any interest in talking to you, because you didn't really hate the show, did you? There were things that you didn't like, there were things that you didn't connect with. And that's why I think theater is so subjective. You know, the things that might make me cry might make you laugh. Or the things that I might find sad, you might be like, that's just, you know, and I think
That's
that
just
is
life.
exactly, yeah.
Why
And
are you
I
crying?
think that is nurture and experience. So I wouldn't say talent the way we like to define it. I don't necessarily believe in talent the way we like to define it as society. But I do think a lot of the artists are born with that, a little fire of something in them that they then try to discover and build up as they go. What do you think?
I think I do believe in talent, but maybe not as it's imagined. Like, I feel like when I think of talent, I think of the word meaning almost something, you know, the expression like God given. You know, I don't believe it's like that. I believe it's a mixture of like luck, nature, and nurture. That's it. I feel like, you know, for a lot of artists as well, I feel like a lot of people did start shy or did start for, you know, and they wanted to find like freedom or escapism in something. And I feel like that is the nurture side. And then the luck to kind of find that point where you can express yourself. Because I think probably a lot of people do have talent, but they're kind of trapped within their own self-consciousness or whatever it is, that they don't let it come out.
Yeah.
Last question. If you could have dinner with anyone, alive or dead? Simina's
Oh,
face. Who would it be?
that's a great question. Do you have one?
I have one, and it is what it is. I would love to have dinner with Pedro Pascal right now. He's an actor. He's in The Last of Us. I just think we have very similar energies. He speaks Spanish. I speak a bit of Spanish. I could practice my Spanish. But I think he's a great example of, he's a really talented actor who's worked his entire life. He has. And then he's kind of made it all of a sudden, and it's everywhere and everybody loves him. But it's that kind of thing like, oh, he came out of nowhere. And I'm like, no, he didn't. Like,
They say that for everybody,
exactly,
right?
yeah. And then you look back and you're like, this man's been working his entire life, and like I've seen a lot of his projects, and like I knew who the person was, and all of a sudden everybody's like, oh my God. So I'd just love to talk to him about that experience. Like, how was that? Like, what kept you going? How do you feel about people being like, oh, you just showed up out of nowhere? And it's like, that's just not true. I've worked my whole life. But yeah, I think that's the first person that came to mind. And I don't think I'll regret my answer, but I'm going to stick with Pedro Pascal.
Nice.
What about you?
I feel like I would go with Ian McKellen because I think he would be just really funny to have dinner with. I feel like he's one of those people that has achieved so much but managed to stay quite grounded and down to earth and really talented, and that would be my choice. Yeah. I feel like I'd have fun. Yeah. I'd have a lot of fun.
Maybe we should all, 4 of us, go to dinner together. Ian McKellen, Pedro Pascal, if you're listening,
If you're listening.
come to the Libra.
The invite's there.
Oh, thank you so much. That was amazing.
Thank you. Thank you so much. We really enjoyed it too. Thank you.